Hi everybody, welcome to Jenkins Boat Works. I am Chuck Jenkins. I've got a video today for you on making a cutting board. Obviously this isn't what we normally do, but I've been waiting on some supplies on our boat build, and my wife had bought me a bunch of tools from woodpeckers.com. If you haven't been there, really cool site, and they got a lot of really quality tools. So I've had some interest in making some cutting boards for a while, and they're kind of quick, short little projects. And so anyway, we're gonna show you how we got this one here put together. And like I said, it's not what we normally do. We'll be back to boat building soon, but if you like what you see, and dig around in the channel, see what other kinds of stuff we've been up to, and consider subscribing. And all right, we're gonna jump in and make a cutting board. First thing is, let's go out to the barn and see if we can find some walnut. All right, we're gonna head out to the old barn and look for some lumber. We've got some walnut out here, and see if we can find a piece we can make some cutting boards out of. Pretty nice day. It rained overnight, so I'd ordinarily drive out here, but it's pretty wet. And Toby's coming with me. Hi, Toby. Get it. My buddy had 2 walnut trees in his yard that he cut down, and he took them to a place called Urban Lumber. This is a number of years ago, and they milled it out, and the deal was they kept half of it and he got half of it, and so they didn't charge him anything to cut it up. So there's some of it's 2-inch thick and some of it's 1-inch thick. So I think we're just going to go for that top piece over there. It's 1-inch thick. It's been out here drying a long time. Listen to this. It's super dry. Man, that thing's heavy. I wished I could have driven back in there. Well, thing's probably 8 feet long, maybe. Let's lift it up in the truck here. Oh yeah, I'd say we're 8 foot easy. We got this big chunk of walnut in the shop, and we cut the end off, largely because it's got that huge crack in it. But you can see it's pretty thick. It's almost 1.5 inches thick. So that came off the end. Then we cut off a chunk that was about 19 inches, and we ran it through the table saw over there, and we got these strips. Now before we did that, we ran it through the planer because the board was slightly warped. It's fairly flat, but it's got a little bit of warp to it. Anyway, so we ran it through the planer, and by the time we got done on the planer, we were 1 1/16 thick. And so this would have been the thickness of it here. We ran it through the table saw at 3/4 of an inch, and we got these pieces like this. Now, these are the rejects. You can see some knots in there and a big crack in that one. And that one's kind of got some blemish. And so then once we got them all cut, we glued them up. We used Tight Bond 3 here and got it in these clamps. Now I've got 3 pieces of white oak in there just to give it a little accent. We tried to orient the pieces that we have so that it kind of makes sense. The colors make sense symmetrically. So in other words, like this one here corresponds with this one here, and kind of a little bit darker in these ones in the middle. So that's been gluing up for 24 hours. We're getting ready to take it out of there, and we'll run it back through the planer, get the glue knocked off of it, and get it nice and flat and smooth. And then once we do that, we can do whatever we want with it as far as how we finish it out as a usable cutting board. Oh, quite a bit of glue squeeze out on this side, but that's a good thing. That looks pretty good. It looks like it's pretty flat. And so we'll run it through the thickness planer and get all this cleaned up and then figure out what we want to do with it from there. So now I drew a center line on here. This is about 11 3/4 wide. So I came in 5 7/8, which is half. So then it's right in the middle of this piece of oak, which is nice. This template's got a little center line on it. So I can just line that up right on here. Drawn around the outside of this. And we'll take it to the bandsaw and cut this initial shape out. The oak was harder to get through, but we got a pretty clean cut. We're going to take it to the little bandsaw, or either maybe just a jigsaw, and try to get those corners rounded off. We got a really good cut between the bandsaw and the jigsaw, so I can still see all of my line, but we're pretty close. Could have been closer here, maybe a little closer over here. I almost wonder if I could just sand it down to the line, but we'll go ahead and use the router and just get it really symmetrical. So what I'm going to do is use some double-sided tape, put this dude on here. We want to really make sure this is secure. This double-sided tape is pretty nice. This is spec tape, pressure sensitive. It's double-sided. So we're just going to put several pieces on here. And just kind of rub it in here. Now the other day, I was kind of testing all the tools and everything, and I was trying to be frugal. I skimped on the tape. Didn't put enough on here, and I got it up on the router, and the jig slid, and I cut a big freaking gouge on the end of a piece of wood. So you just got to kind of smash these down, and then having some fingernails is a good idea, because you kind of peel that little top part off of there, and then that comes off. Now it's sticky there too. I'm mostly interested just being on that center line, and as long as I've got some wood sticking out all the way around the edge here, we've got enough. That's really close right there, but I can still feel a little bit of a lip. So I think we're good. Now I'm going to really press this down, trying to make sure that that's really stuck on there. Now the other thing I can do is take this middle template out of here. And we're going to come back and use it to make our juice groove later. But let's see if that'll pop out of there. Good, 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 good. And I'm actually going to run a couple little pieces of duct tape over the top of this just to make sure it's going to hold. Okay. Now we'll get the router table set up and we'll see what we can do there. So I'm going to set this router bit. It's just a little too tall. That top silver part needs to be right even with the jig. So we got to lower this down just a hair. I like to stop and see how I'm doing. The router really scares me. So we didn't have anything get chipped out. That's really nice. It's can happen when you're coming this way along the grain. It's not so likely to happen when you're on the end grain. But we made it around this corner pretty nicely. So I'm going to vacuum some of this up and then we'll continue on. Got just a little lip right there where maybe the thickness was slightly different. I don't know what caused that, but it'll easily sand off. Otherwise, really clean all the way around. Okay, the next thing is going to be cutting out these hand holds. And so I'm just taking a pencil and making a mark there. Now there's some double-sided tape there, which is going to come off, so we're not going to be able to get it. But what we're going to do is take a Forstner bit like this, take it to the drill press, and probably hit that side, couple in the middle, and then we'll be able to bring it back over on this router. We should be able to, and clean these out. Okay, don't goof it up. We'll get through the rest of that with a jigsaw. So we took the jigsaw and we got these roughed out, and rough it is. Now, once again, the template is bigger than the hole. So we should be able to take and sit it in the router. And I'm just gonna sit it right in there like that and see if we can go around it and clean it out. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so that's cool. So now we're going to try to do our juice groove around in here, but we've got to have the other template. This is my plunge router. It's got a little brass collar in there that allows you to run along the juice groove jig. And then the bit is a specific juice groove bit that we got from woodpeckers. And it's pretty slick. What I see with this is that I was very careful coming around this side, because when the router's spinning, two things can happen. You can not stay level on the plate. There's not much here for the base of this to stay on. It can want to come off a little bit at an angle. And the other thing is it can want to jump instead, because that's a pretty hard turn coming around this little piece here. When you come around here, it'd be easy for it to go out here and not stay true to the curve. So you just go slow, hold it really tight, and I actually didn't press down all the way on the plunge. So I don't know if you can see that there, but it's a much deeper full cut here as opposed to here. Now I'm going to come back in here and then do the full plunge and come on down and catch the rest of that. It's a little rough over here, but we got a nice groove and it didn't jump out of the track. So I feel pretty good about it. So here's a little bit better look at how I secured this thing down. Now clearly there'd be other ways to do this. You could even make a template that was the shape of this that you could just set it in. I just drilled some screws in my workbench to hold it. And now as far as this juice groove is concerned, you can see we got a little bit of grain there. It's not really a burn, but we can sand that just a little bit. And we didn't jump out of the track, and we got the depth of the groove uniform. Now all we got to do is peel this off of here with this two-sided tape. It really is stuck down quite nicely. And the whole thing with the router is that, it's just going to go where it wants to if you let it. So you got to really control the total environment, and that means making sure your workpiece is secure and it can't slide around, and make sure that your template is secure and it can't slide around. Otherwise, you wind up with a goof up. I half think maybe I might start doing the juice groove first, simply because it's the most difficult. And if you do goof it up, you haven't already done all this other work as far as cutting these holes out and cutting the perimeter out and all that. But go slow and you be careful, and this time it turned out pretty nice. Still seeing a few pencil marks. There was a center line on there. I'm gonna leave this side like it is. I'm not putting a juice groove in there. Maybe sometimes you got a little bigger piece that you're working on, or it's not a juicy thing. You can cut on this side and just not have to worry about things falling down in your little crack here. If you're cutting onions or vegetables or something. This is more if you're, cutting some kind of like prime rib or something and you don't want the juice going off on the floor. So it's beautiful on both sides. So we're gonna sand it a little bit more and then put some food safe mineral oil on it. I kept thinking maybe I had a little burn mark right there from the router, but I'm becoming more convinced that it was just like a knot or a piece of the wood. We may sand that a little bit more and see if it'll come out of there, but up here too. But all in all, real happy with it. If you like the video, remember to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.